Entertainment is...
Entertainment?
Someone bigger than me.
Madness. Thank you for leaving them alone.
My job is to be an actor.
Make them laugh.
Make them laugh.
Make them cry. That makes you angry.
How can you be so damn dumb?
I see it as a business.
Who's ready to do a talk show?
But the totality is entertainment.
You say things aren't going well, you're halfway to hell, you lost everything that counts.
The main idea of talk show is a very nice, beautiful idea.
Gone is your spouse, and maybe the house, oh, you haven't lost a pound.
You said you're still in love with her. You cannot love two people and marry one. I'm sorry.
The kids are bawling, creditors calling. When did life become this curse?
The subject matter is appalling.
21. One.
Come over to my house and fucking him at my house.
The car won't run, your days seem done. Could things ever get any worse?
I have even canceled my cable. I don't want to watch TV, period.
But then there's Oprah, Phil, and Sally, and Jerry Springer, too.
Americans like seeing other people in pain because it makes us feel better because we know they're in more pain than we are.
A little dose of a talk show host, you won't seem quite as blue. 'Cause if that's the world or part of it, where madams are sometimes served, you'll quit complaining, things could be worse. Those calamities could be yours.
We're running out of seats.
Starting from the daytime, we got Sally.
Maury.
Come back early, because there will be another line, just as long as this.
Oprah.
Come back here at 3:30 and wait on this line again.
Jerry, Jenny, Montel.
You have no tickets, you have no chance to go. No chance.
It's not the unemployment line. Sally and Jesse Raphael. Let me see, who else?
The lawyer from Northwestern, what's his name? Jerry Springer.
He's good looking, and he loves the king, Elvis.
Now I know your lover left you.
And he's a former lawyer, and he's the ex-mayor of Cincinnati, but now he holds the most influential position of his career.
Just hit you in your rear end.
This is more powerful than a single politician.
But remember that guy on Springer who cried and fought and swore.
Oh yeah, not everyone follows politics, but everyone watches television.
But then there's Oprah, Phil, and Sally.
There's someone named Ricky Lake.
That's my girl.
I'm almost like a therapist in some ways. I'm kind of a poor man's therapist.
Hey, go Ricky!
More powerful than politics, therapeutic, some disagree.
I find it junk, really. Garbage, trash.
So don't watch it.
I mean, I watch it just because I'm a little bit fascinated by it.
And that's it. Talk TV has the grip of gossip, human emotion as entertainment.
Today's show is about family members who think that their loved one can do better than the person they're with.
Every one of us has a story about something that happened in our life or in our family's life that if the rest of the country knew about it, we go, oh boy. So we all have a talk show in us. Most of us choose not to go on talk shows to talk about it.
The story we're starting with is we're talking to a mom and daughter first. The mom's name is Gina, and her daughter that's going to be on stage with her is Deborah.
I would want to go on one just to tell somebody else my business, my problems. No.
But for a free trip to the big city, a fancy hotel, and a ride in a limo, plenty of people are prepared to air their dirty linen on air.
We don't use protected sex, and I don't think I'm gonna get AIDS from him or anything.
Hi, do you have any pepper spray or mace in your purse?
No.
Step forward into the metal detector.
And apart from TV audiences in the tens of millions, there are 3-month waiting lists for the thrill of being a member of the studio audience.
Can you go just a little lower?
Jana and Deborah are here to tell Dana, Jana's other daughter, Deborah's
Leave
sister.
Jimmy.
Leave Jimmy. He's no good for a multitude of reasons.
Not the least of which is he's still living
With his ex-girlfriend.
ex-girlfriend.
Jenny.
I would rather watch a talk show than a soap opera.
Absolutely.
Soap opera is not reality. I'm sorry, you don't have that many problems going on in one family.
Though you'd be surprised what storylines the Jerry Springer production team can come up
So
with.
segment 1 is basically mom and daughter. We'll meet your daughter and your boyfriend in a minute. Tell me what's going on. You know, tears, whatever. This is really tearing my daughter apart. She doesn't eat, she doesn't sleep, she doesn't listen to anyone, any of us. And then we bring out Dana, the one they want to confront.
So it's always nice to see people in pain.
To see people in pain, it's more stupidity. And Dana comes out, and Dana's point is, I tell you about my problems because you're my mom, you're my mother, you're supposed to listen to me, support me. If you love me, support me. Coming up next, we'll meet Jimmy and the woman he's living with. And Jimmy tells Dana, his girlfriend tells Dana, oh, she's my ex, she needed a place to stay. Dana's buying it all, mom and sister are saying you're nuts.
And they are right.
Yes.
Some dirt, just some dirt. Somebody's mother slept with their boyfriend or something like that.
We'll all find out after.
Only if you stay tuned to the Jerry Springer Show.
Yes.
Seen
Don't touch
daily
that dial.
on your local television station.
I'd say they're facing a lot more competition now, not only for viewers, but for guests, for topics. There's only about a dozen topics that they can mine.
90% of the time, y'all were talking about relationships.
I am your sister. You don't know the date. I am your sister. We don't communicate that well.
Family problems.
We have a society where people don't get around and talk as much as they used to.
We had a little altercation. Tracy got upset and she used her mask.
Instead, they sit and watch television.
It is true, we probably talk more to television than we do to our neighbors. We are a media age.
Talk shows have become the community of the 90s.
I hope there is a fight tonight.
It's on a talk show that you can come and meet with other people who are having difficulties with that cheap husband, that teenager skipping school. You get the counseling and the community of that group of people who have a similar experience.
The shows want you to believe that this provides community.
Are you guys together?
That we are deprived of close relationships.
You're with him? No, are you with them?
Well, if this is the substitute for close relationships, we are in deep trouble.
We solved one problem.
Well, I have a new problem.
Do you know why she's crying?
Because she wants to keep this child and I don't.
Perhaps we are in deep trouble. Otherwise, why would thousands turn to talk shows for help? Are they now really the conscience of the community?
I mean, so often now people knock on the doors from churches or synagogues and the door doesn't get open these days. What built America was a sense of community. And it's our responsibility in a community to reach out to a young couple who needs somebody just to give them a little bit of advice. You have a program in your community where you can provide some help to someone who's been on the show or somebody who calls in after a show airs. Write me, fill up our files. We'll start to make sure we pair people up across the country with help that comes from the heart, because that's what a country's about.
But if communities are taking care of business, then what'll talk shows be about?
Join us for the next Montel Williams Show.
The next Montel Williams Show points up the irony that even the most socially responsible talk shows draw their recruits from those in social or personal crisis.
Do you want to confront the woman who used you and then dumped you? If so, call us.
Driven to air their private pain in public.
You two are together. Okay, come this way.
A close relationship, yes, you tell your secrets. Yes, you get to hear secrets, but it's protected. It builds bonds because I trust you. 5 million people I don't even know.
Front row, Ricky, what's up?
What's up is that the studio audience, far from being mere spectators, are about to take an active part, somewhere between vaudeville and an evangelical prayer meeting.
I hope it's really something good and juicy today.
Like what?
I don't know. Maybe someone's husband's cheating or anything.
Along with this week's guests, they will become willing participants in a ritual sacrifice.
A good, juicy show. That's right, with a lot of gossip.
So, with a crowd hungry for tales of primal feelings, betrayal, revenge, loss, reconciliation, what does the schedule have in store today?
Dana's family detests her boyfriend Jimmy, and they say they have good reason.
In 5, 4, 3, 2. We get literally thousands of letters from people looking for help and finding friends and relatives that they've lost touch with.
What Dana's gonna find out is that Jimmy is cheating on her.
Many letters are from children desperately searching for their dads.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Dana's family detests her boyfriend Jimmy, and they say they have good reason.
Well, today, guests who have written to me pleading for help finding their fathers are in for a wonderful surprise.
What Dana is going to find out is that Jimmy has been cheating on her.
Stay tuned for some incredibly emotional reunions.
Let's go inside and see what happens.
I don't know. Here come the music. Maybe we're going to get something real good.
First, the congregation goes through its own initiation.
You guys done? All right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ricky Lake Show. And now, will you please welcome America's favorite warm-up man.
A little spontaneity rehearsal.
How you guys doing?
Ricky's going to be out in the audience throughout the entire show.
and she'll be out in the audience because she wants you guys to get involved.
I want your spontaneous reaction. Oohs, ahs, applause, and boos. Those are the reactions I need from you today. Can you guys do that for me?
The way you get involved, ma'am, is by
Raising your hand.
raising your hand.
So if something's interesting or intriguing, act like it, okay? Just...
She'll stand you up. You can address the panel with a question, a comment, words of encouragement, anything you want to say about today's show.
Any given time in this show, these cameras will have the biggest, fattest, juiciest close-up of your face that you can ever imagine. So don't get caught picking a winner.
After they've responded to you, you can then sit back down.
The charismatic evangelist of emotion is coming.
1, 2, 3, yeah!
The host of thousands of shows with millions of converts.
Every time Jerry's going to go to this camera, ladies and gentlemen, call it camera number 3, he's going to be telling us what the show's about, who's coming out next, what the next segment is about. So I don't care what's happening on stage, every time Jerry goes to that camera, make sure you're paying attention to him. For example, today we might meet pimps. Whoa, that's real shocking to me, right? But I can tell by looking at some of you guys out in the audience, you're like, you know what? I'm a pimp myself. I'm going to applaud and support my fellow pimps.
Good Lord, it's a hostile crowd. Does he know?
However warmed up and well rehearsed the audience may be, the next part of the ritual is vital. The house and the host must bond. Production teams aside, the host conducts the ceremony, and it's his or her charisma which draws the faithful to chanting, cheering worship, as the studio audience bears witness on behalf of the all-important TV audience, fostering brand loyalty in a now competitive marketplace.
We were one of 17 talk shows the year that we premiered, and we realized that if we went into this arena, this very crowded arena, and offered the same thing that everyone else was offering, we wouldn't have a chance of succeeding.
There were no talk shows that appealed to people under 50 years old. They simply didn't exist. One of the problems that we had the first year was convincing stations in the United States that there in fact was an audience for shows that appealed to people under 50.
It's a demographic issue. Advertisers like young viewers because they don't think they're set in their ways yet. So essentially, if you can bring in young people, then advertisers really want to be a part of that show.
We knew we hadn't quite found the host to do it nationally, and we did a casting search.
We knew that we were looking for a woman who was about 25 years old, but we looked all over the place for the proper host. We talked to rock stars, we talked to fashion models, we talked to print journalists, we talked to anyone who had an interesting, quirky personality. We wanted someone who was original, but she also had to be someone who was very appealing.
Anybody in the house shy? Hell no!
And it came down to the last 15.
I guess having been an actress, I was sort of somewhat of a name.
And kept narrowing it.
And I sat, talking to very handsome men, 3 handsome men, and I flirted with them for about 2 hours and got the job. I know you came here with a purpose. And that purpose is to get your fine selves on TV! Because you have an opinion. Yeah! You came here to express it. All right, one last thing to say and we'll get started. Who's ready to do a talk show?
In the past, before Ricky, all the talk shows in the United States had sets in the background that weren't real places. They really clearly were studio backgrounds. Ricky was the first set that looked like a real architectural environment. It looked like you were being invited into Ricky's New York City loft apartment to talk.
To talk into a microphone, in front of TV cameras, executive producers, teleprompters, 200 strangers, a TV audience of millions, to talk about the most intimate details of your life to an actress.
I took this job for the $5,000 that they offered me. I needed the money so badly. My rent hadn't been paid, and I never thought it would continue the way it has. Even my executive producers who have done television for so long, they had no idea that this has been quite a phenomenon. Here we go!
And it is a niche. I mean, this show became a hit so quickly that everyone thought this was an unlimited niche, and so we went to one television convention in this country where they sell the next year's programs, and everyone was trying to copy the Ricky Lake Show. Well, that was simply an overreaction to a fairly limited niche. You can't do 9 versions of the Ricky Lake Show. You can do maybe 2 or 3.
Some people call syndication the Xerox industry. When somebody does something and it works, everybody rushes to do the same thing.
With its fast pace and racy subjects, I Have a Crush on My Boss, My Best Friend Slept with My Boyfriend, and perennial favourites, reunion dramas, the Ricky Lake Show turned human emotion into tabloid entertainment.
Ricky pushed the envelope a little bit, and when people saw that succeed, Jerry Springer and a lot of the imitators started pushing the envelope a little more, and I think the topics got more and more outrageous.
Driven by the ratings wars, new criteria emerged.
It has to be interesting, outrageous, and truthful.
I mean, that stuff on there will raise your hair. You'll do a double take.
It's weird things too, like
a pretty John with high heels on, out looking for a date. Lisa, as I understand it, there's something you want to tell him?
I'm really a man. Siamese twins or transvestites.
Or that big bald-headed woman with a tattoo on her face who swears she was abducted by a man from outer space. Is he there?
Anything.
Because I'll kick him off the stage! Get out of here!
This isn't brain surgery here. It's silly television. Well, it's entertainment.
Well, it started out as a very serious show.
Not everything we do is to bring peace to Bosnia.
Really, TV is entertainment. And since Jerry had so many levels to work on, he's funny. He's creative, he's compassionate, he's all of these things at once. We decided to try to be a little bit more entertaining.
I'm awfully excited today. I guess I can share the news with you. I just signed a new cable contract. And next Thursday, they're going to install it. So.
Every once in a while, we just want escape from real life.
What's the show about?
What's the show about? About an hour.
So it can be about anything as long as it's entertaining. The Politician squares it.
I think it's a function of free speech, and I think in societies where you have free speech, that's exactly what it means. People are free to say what they want, even if we don't like it.
Okay, I know you're trying to get my goat, but let's...
Get your goat?
Yeah, let me answer what you said. You asked me a question.
I got your mom in the trunk of my car.
You got what?
You know, Nazis killed my family. I'm not going to pretend to like them or even be polite to them.
We know that the 6 million people died. Trust me.
No,
we
don't know
They're not hiding.
I know
you
about 30
shut
minutes.
your face right now.
I'll say the Constitution lets you say what you want. It also lets me say what I want. I think you're a pig. And I won't know it.
Anyway, hey, let's have a good time. Raise your hands. I'll launch you the show. And I tell you what, after the show, party at my house.
Parties at Jerry's house are now #1 in the ratings, the housewives' heartthrob striking a lucrative balance between the libertarian and the lascivious. Rival Ricky Lake's show is today in a healing mode.
A child is the loving creation of a mother and a father. But sometimes, for reasons beyond a child's control, her mother and father have to go their separate ways. Meet Faraha. She said the pain of not having her biological father in her life is sometimes too much to bear. She has not seen her dad in 13 years and wrote to me for help finding him. Faraha, would you please share...
Where else can you be on first-name terms with your counselor?
Dear Ricky, I'm desperately in need of your help. I have not seen or heard from my dad in about 13 years. I get so sad not knowing where he is or if he even talks about me. I wonder if he has another family and if they know about me. Please, Ricky, I'm in pain. Please help me fill in the pieces of life's puzzle.
There are several stories scheduled for today.
The past 10 years have been very painful for me, loving someone that you can't share your life with.
This is the talk show host as therapist or confessor, so familiar is the Ricky Lake persona to the TV audience that it seems the most natural thing in the world to turn to her for help.
Tell us, what have the past 10 years been like for you?
The next talk show addict Ricky's response comes equally naturally.
It's okay.
She's not afraid of the camera. It's a missing gene from Ricky.
Just the logistics of getting around that studio, I think because she's an actress, she knows how to hit her mark, how to phrase a question, how to really listen carefully, how to look at body language.
and how to time the surprises in a 5-minute segment to maximum dramatic effect.
What would it mean to you today to see your dad? Oh, man. I know your dad always used to tell you were beautiful. Why don't you listen?
Sarah, you are beautiful.
Your dad's here. What are you saying? He's here. Ralph, come on out and say hi to Flora.
7 show segments calls for 7 reunions, each segment demanding an emotional crescendo of a certain length and timed to the break. A production line of pain and joy.
John, come on out and say hi to your daughter. This is real stuff happening before our very eyes, so it's always emotional.
7 fathers for 7 offspring, truly the stuff of fantasy.
I mean, these are in fact our characters in a story, and we'll cue them out. They may be in isolation, they may just be backstage waiting to tell their side of the story.
Well, speaking of a new era of your life, I know that your daughter has changed a lot. She's now a married lady.
We thought, gee, let's be a little more dramatic about this. We'll have entrances, like they have in a play.
Your dad is here, and he is dying to see you. Leroy, come on out here.
4 down, 3 to go.
Let's bring out your dad. James, come on out.
A reunion show's success is measured in buckets of tears.
Tissues.
From the guests, the production staff, the studio audience, and those at home.
But I mean, to what end? What is the point? There's nothing really cathartic about a lot of emotion if it doesn't go somewhere or you don't learn something.
But the shows have a simple agenda, a let-it-all-hang-out ethos as an end in itself.
These people are talking about the most intimate details in their private lives. Why they choose to come on national television to reveal this, but they do. I mean, it's better to reveal the stuff than to keep it silent for, years and years and years. I mean, that's pretty dangerous, I think. Well, I'm so happy that we were able to reunite you all. I hope you never lose touch again.
Upset, upset, upset. Fix. Over. Commercial.
You do not want to miss this. We'll be back.
If the entertainment value of the joyful reunion of loved ones begins to pall, switch channels and thrill to their painful disintegration. Taped twice daily, The Jerry Springer Show is about to offer up a story with all the emotional force and plot twists of Tennessee Williams.
Thank you. Welcome to the show. That's very nice. Problems can often start when family members disapprove of the person their loved ones choose to date. Well, today we're talking with people who want to tell their family member to dump their lover and move on.
That's the scenario. Now who's the cast?
For all the people I talk to, a small percentage wind up on stage.
Come with me, lady.
It's 6 characters in search of a talk show.
We type up biographies for Jerry on all of the guests and where they started, where they're at now, what the story is. You brief him right before, and he runs it. He goes with it. He's great with that. He really knows when to pull something out, when to move on.
That's what I get paid for. I have to be able to orchestrate for an hour.
Hey, I'd like you to meet Jana and her daughter, Deborah. Jana's other daughter, Dana, is dating a guy named Jimmy, and they both think she could do much better.
Exposition over, Jerry steers the cast into Act 1 plot.
What is the problem that you have with your daughter, Dana, dating Jimmy?
Well, I know she can find someone a lot better.
Why is he so bad? She's your sister, yeah.
He's been with Dana for about 8 months now, and he's living with his ex-girlfriend, and...
Ooh.
The mom or the daughter had called in saying, my sister is involved in a bad relationship.
She had a miscarriage here about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was a tubal pregnancy. They wound up having to remove part of the tube. And he never even came to the hospital.
First rule of drama, conflict.
Let's bring her out, see what she has to say about this. Here's your daughter and your sister, Dana.
I really think that when family members are involved, that you really get the emotion that you're looking for.
The conflict, mum and sis side with daughter against boyfriend. The new character takes the stage with plot twist number 1. Suddenly, it's daughter against mother.
I really was interested in the story because the mom was so upset about it. I mean, even in the green room before the show, she was in tears. And that's what we're really looking for in a guest.
I sat there watching you in pain for something that he helped do.
So, now it's Dana and her boyfriend versus her interfering mum and sister.
I love you, and I want the best for you.
These guests have all been interviewed before the show, so the producers have informed the host of just the information that is apt to be the most inflammatory.
They're saying that he's living with his ex-girlfriend.
Yes, but I've asked him, he tells me they're not messing around. I believe him, I mean...
Do you say to him, you know what, I just would feel more comfortable if you wouldn't be living with your ex-girlfriend?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you say to him, Jimmy, I love you very much.
You coming in here?
But you know what? You have to show that you love me.
Come in here.
And so
34, right now, 4, 4. 3, 34.
And if you want me, then you leave her. And when you leave her and you're living on your own,
go into her. Ready,
then you call me up and I'll be there right away.
4.
Go ahead.
The only way I'm ever going to break with him is if somebody tells me they saw with their own 2 eyes, seen them messing around, or if it comes from his mouth.
Well, stick around, sister, as the plot thickens.
There's 7 segments in a talk show, so we sort of decide who we're going to put out first, who we're going to bring out. It's always good to keep the audience hanging for coming up next. You're going to meet.
32.
You think he really cares about you? I don't think so. I don't think so, not for 1 minute.
Ready, 2.
Not for 1 minute.
Now you can go.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll meet Jimmy. We'll be right back.
You'd rather have somebody that shows you the emotion, the anger, their feelings, speaks articulately, and really comes out of the box. And I do what I can in giving a list of pointers to my guests in saying no one-word answers, try and concentrate. If you get a one-word question, you know what you're here to talk about. You know, pointers like that to help them out. They've never been on a talk show before.
Dana's mom and Dana's sister think that Dana could do a lot better than dating Jimmy, but she says, hey, I love Jimmy. Let's bring him out. Here's Jimmy.
They explain, speak up. Let them really know how bad you feel, that you got to really come across strong.
So, finally, Dana has the moral support of her boyfriend Jimmy at her side. He'll tell him.
Yeah, what I like to say is it's none of their business at all. And what I heard about me not showing up at the hospital...
But here's twist number 2.
Explain that. I did go the first time. She was pregnant with twins, and she killed them.
What do you mean?
How did I kill him?
She worked at a tanning salon. She knew she was pregnant. She kept tanning.
There's not enough signs that tells me not
give me
to
the guy.
tan.
Yes.
I even asked my doctor. My doctor said that was not the reason why.
They lead the guests to believe they're going to be the good guy.
Did I show up at the hospital? Was I at the hospital?
The first time you did,
yes.
the second time you did.
Yeah, second time, because I got fed up with it.
Once they get on the show,
because you killed the first one, and then you kept tanning, and the other twin died.
you don't know which end you're going to end up on.
Now you don't even know what the fuck's going on.
My job is to decide what the audience at home sees. 10 years ago, a person sit down, you'd have one person, you go to an audience shot, back to the guest, back to the host, back to it was a formula almost. When we came in, we wanted to change the show. We wanted to bring more energy into it. And we have 5 cameras for this show, sometimes 6.
Poised to capture every reaction to this shifting tale of love, deceit, and betrayal.
Nice guys, good.
I have one question. All I know is that he's with Jimmy.
Wide shot, close-ups, reaction shots, the standard fare of TV drama.
No.
But the producers know something Dana doesn't. Waiting backstage, the third twist in a plot heading for its climax.
So when Ginny comes out, I ask him, say, Ginny, have you guys been sleeping together? She's going to say no.
Ask her. 1, get me the
I will
guy.
ask her.
All right, let's bring her out. Here's Jenny.
Ready, 1, cover, in center, 5, ready, 1, ready, 2. Camera 1 or 3, which on the sides, will shoot the tight reactions of people as something's happening. If there's a surprise, I have to make sure that camera 1 or 3 or whatever it is gets that person who's got the surprise delivered to them, so I get the reaction instantly. One, give me the girlfriend.
Why would you?
I actually trusted you, Jimmy.
Yeah, I love you.
Why would you purposely deceive her?
All I said was I was not sleeping with Jenny. And common sense to tell you that I was. If I'm living with her, she knew it. She just never wanted to admit it.
We can be great on a story, and all of a sudden, someone on the other side of the stage chimes in, and then all of a sudden you're, oh my God, we got to see this as quick as possible. 3. That's what's so great about television talk. You never know what's going to happen. You never know when someone's going to jump up.
I think you're a fucking
2,
hoe, tramp
Ready,
bitch.
1. We have our roving camera, which handles whatever you're asking. He's the one that captures the moment. Ready, 4, ready, 2. You got to run to pick him up. This is genuine drama. Ready, 1, ready, 4, 5. The audience loves it. I mean, the energy that the audience brings to the show is awesome too. I mean, that's what makes the show so exciting.
This is what the audience has come to see. Raw emotion in a Colosseum atmosphere.
You're hyped, so you have to let it out because you're mad at somebody else. So they bring on a problem that makes you relieve your own problem.
So, are we witnessing the solving of problems or the savouring of others' problems? Catharsis or voyeurism? Democracy or decadence?
You release a lot of energy on that.
Yes, yes. So you go home feeling
your own
wonderful.
misery.
A lot of what their potential is to give voice to people who don't have it. But that's not what happens anymore.
It's freedom of speech, but how I understand democracy, it's intelligence. It's to be smart, to understand what is going on, to be responsible for other people, for our policy, for everything. But when we do show from nothing, who sleeps with whom? I'm sorry.
Yes. I don't think they quite understand what what the full implications are for society when you have a bunch of people sitting around watching junk on television.
I mean, it talks down to people, and it's for, the lowest common denominators. The subject matters are repulsive.
They embarrass themselves and their kids.
Yeah.
What you have are people who are choreographed to look a lot worse than they do. They are put in situations where they are manipulated to draw out the very worst aspects of what's going on.
Nobody is on a talk show that doesn't want to be on.
These people come of their own free will. They call us of their own free will.
I don't think we exploit people. News tends to exploit people by definition, because news jams the microphone into the face of someone who doesn't want to be on.
I don't like the whole idea of a public forum like that just for ratings, just for television, based on ratings. I mean, if you don't get the ratings, then you're off. Yeah. And so the only way to get the ratings is to get people excited, kind of jerk off their emotions, if you will.
That was so nice.
Beautiful. Yeah. Congratulations.
That was so nice. I'm so happy for you guys.
Oh, you're so welcome. God bless you.
Thank you again.
A lot of the harsh critics of talk shows who say that the people are being exploited and it's an underclass who appear on talk shows are really being pretty elitist and snobby in saying that.
Next, she doesn't have any memories of her father, but we're about to get them out of school.
Most people who are on talk shows really fall into that range of average Americans, average income, and the people who are the critics of that are the people whose incomes and education levels far exceed that, and it really, I think, takes on a very elitist edge.
Some people go to psychiatrists for help. Some people don't like to go to psychiatrists. They feel very impersonal.
Ready, one.
You want to have your cake and eat it too. It doesn't work that way in a relationship.
Once you get it off your chest, your problems, regardless if we find it disgusting, it still helps that person feel more comfortable with their own life.
1, 2, ready, 1, ready, 4.
People at home, I think it helps because they can relate to it. It's what's going on in their home. I mean, that story, a mother not liking her daughter's boyfriend, just about every home out there.
Talk shows, I think people seem to have, it gets deep down inside of people where they bring out a lot of problems that they do have.
It's an irresistible formula. Ordinary folk in crisis provide an endless stream of free content for some of the most profitable programming ever. At roughly $50,000 an episode, every major entertainment conglomerate has drunk from the well of human despair, consciences salved by helpful hints.
The shows want you to believe that they are providing an important service.
She's a clinical psychologist who's on the faculty of Columbia University. Please welcome Dr. Karen Derby to the show. Now, in this last year, talk shows, there'll be 25 of us on the air in like September, this month and next month. We're all taking hits, we're all lumped together because people claim we exploit people, we do this, we do that. What do you say to this?
The people who come here are in real pain, and you address what is going wrong in their lives.
They do like to appear as though they're therapeutic.
And you provide information, you provide solutions.
Their answer to everything is get therapy.
A lot of people don't know that it's as simple as sometimes you'll say, look in the phone directory under mental health clinics and find some help.
Mental health clinics have long waiting lists. This is not always your readily available solution for people.
Or look in the yellow pages and under shelters. People don't know this, and you say this, and people then, you don't have to be a guest on Montel's show to be helped.
But just by watching, you can get
You can be a viewer and get help.
Okay. Well,
The primary motivation is profits. It has nothing to do with help, education, service. That's a byproduct. If it happens, fine.
A happy coincidence of corporate profit and community care, or an uncontrolled free market in emotion and mores? Where do we sit on this one?
The number for free tickets. It's right on your screen right now.
Tickets to the Jerry. Well, sometimes we sit in the studio audience, providing a crucial element in the talk show formula, the perfect backdrop to the unfolding drama.
Call it!
Good morning, Mickey Lake. Are you attending a show today, ma'am? Do you have our address?
Drawn from the same social and cultural pool of ordinary folk as the viewers and the guests, these bit part players provide the legitimacy of a public forum.
Dear Ricky, I'm 17 and I've never met my father.
A girlfriend of mine got tickets and she asked the three of us to come. And I always wanted to go on and see, what goes on. So we went.
He's a part of my blood and I should at least get a chance to talk to him and ask him questions and to let him know that I'm his daughter. Ricky, you are my only hope. Please help. Sincerely, Taryn.
Before we knew what the topic was, I could feel myself, go Ricky, and all that. But, and then when we found out what the topic was, it just kind of like, you're a little bit more somber.
Well, I know that you thought that if we did find him that he would decline to be here today. Why'd you think that?
Well, I just figured that, since he never tried to, contact me or find me, he knew that I was around.
So you feel like maybe he just didn't care?
Yeah.
Well, I do have a message for you. Taryn, I wouldn't miss the chance to see you for the world. Your dad is here. Piper, come on out and meet your daughter.
I was kind of estranged from my father for a couple of years. I didn't know where he was or anything like that. When we sat down there, it was two of the other girls I was there with. We had the experience on that, and we were like, oh my God, I can't believe this show's about this. And we just started getting choked up already, like, oh my God. We actually could have been on the stage,
Thank you so much for being here. Look at your beautiful daughter.
I see that.
Why did you skip out on her life?
At the time, I was young and foolish.
You just get so upset, that you just have something to say, You just have something to say. If it's a topic that you can relate to, and I can relate to it, so.
You really don't know what to do you? Until you get there.
Ma'am, come on over here. Yes.
You said that you didn't know what to do. When it's your blood, you should know what to do. This is coming from personal experience. I haven't seen my father in like 10 years. But you should know what to do. There's no excuse. This is all great and wonderful and everything, but there's no excuse. I had a girl behind us, and she was saying, well, if they really wanted to find their daughters, they wouldn't have come on Ricky Lake to do so.
How do you know what to do?
Some things shouldn't just be done on talk shows, I think.
Few things have not been done on talk shows whose lifeblood is shock value.
There's more to this story. Stay with us.
With real life, as always, timed to the break.
The famous Jerry Springer engagement ring.
If you're acting out your life in public, why exclude those traditionally deeply personal moments?
It's a prop. Don't be fooled.
It's real.
A prop.
I just spent $3,000 on it.
It's not like he has to get to a rocks or anything.
That's for people getting proposed to.
Yeah, if they don't have a ring.
21% per show.
We let them keep it though.
Yeah.
Like pull it off their finger at the end of the show or something.
A proposal amidst all this conflict.
Welcome back.
A quick check of his cue card reminds Jerry that something spontaneous has been scheduled for this segment.
What is that?
Because you got 4-4, so you verbally did not ask him. Ready, 1-1.
Please come out.
Look, 3, get them on, quick, she's gonna propose. Ready, 4, ready, 2, 2, ready 1, ready 3, ready 2, 2. Come on, ready, 5.
Will you marry me? I'm sorry, better.
5, ready, 3.
With the final twist of the plot, and with the audience's judgment ringing in her ears, can Dana salvage anything from her public humiliation?
If he wants that instead of this, then he can have that.
She's finally seen the light, and the audience wildly applaud her insight.
I think that Mom made her point pretty clear because Jimmy did it for her.
With some prompting from the production team, exhortations to express yourself, handy engagement rings.
Why would you want to do something which you know must hurt her? I mean, to so humiliate her by asking someone else to marry you in front of her.
digging your claws into her to hurt her.
We wonder whose idea that was.
I think that Dana will now think twice. You know, she said, I won't believe it till I hear it from his mouth, and finally she did. Now, if Jimmy tries to go home and pull it over again, I think she'll think twice.
And Jimmy's sister, the sixth character in Search for Talk Show, enters stage right to tie up any moral loose ends.
Kim, you're kind of caught in the middle here, huh?
Right.
With the denouement.
Jimmy, how can you be so damn dumb? This man was having sex with another woman, and you think you can trust him to marry him for the rest of your life? Are you fucking crazy?
Each of the shows, there is a moral lesson involved.
But both of you are saying it's okay what he's doing. And as long as you both continue to say it's okay what he's doing, you know what? I got a feeling he's going to keep doing it.
Stand by, Jerry.
What we have is a studio audience that always becomes the moral barometer of what is proper and what is not.
This is the essence of talk show, Vox Populus.
Well, Jimmy, what gives you the right to play with both of their lives like that? Don't you have any remorse for things you've done?
Advice, admonitions, accusations, straight from the hip. The voice of the people. In a language the people can understand.
I would like to know, are you going to still marry him after he dogged you out and dogged her out?
And the conduit for the views of the ordinary man or woman to the world at large is a simple piece of technology, the microphone.
I'm a singer. I've studied since I was 9, so I held the microphone like this, you know, and of course you have to, you know, keep it lower. And
what I always explained to Ricky from the very first day is, this lets you be the editor when you're on stage. If you use the mic and you do it like this back and forth, and the mic is your control mechanism.
The host controls the microphone. The only one who's ever going to look good on a talk show is the host.
I hate to be that bug.
Now, it looks very rude to pull a mic away from someone if you have a mic on yourself as well to speak, but pulling a mic away from someone you have to talk to have a conversation doesn't look rude at all, and it allows you to really control, as an editor would control a conversation.
And when you know it makes good TV, to relinquish access to the airwaves.
You need to be trying to apologize to your mother for the way you came out talking to her. No, baby. If I say, man, fighting your mama, you need to wake up.
The audience will never cheer a wife beater or a child abuser or a woman who cheats on her husband. Every single time the kids in the audience get it right.
But you should dump him too if you was going with her.
Everybody want to dump everybody.
Talk TV, while giving voice to the voiceless, seizes every opportunity to turn real life into a TV moment.
You say you haven't seen your dad in 10 years. You don't know where he's at?
Yeah, we live in the same state. We live about 25 minutes away from him.
All right, why don't you look in that camera right there?
Though not everyone plays ball.
I've adjusted. You have to go, as a female, you have to go through a lot of personal things. I said no, I didn't want to make a play because I knew where he's at. He knows where I'm at, so. I mean, now I have a life. I've adjusted. I have a daughter, and her father is there for her. And he would never, ever just abandon her and not want to see her again in 10, 15, 20 years, because there's no excuse. Your blood, there's no excuse. This is wonderful.
This stern admonition threatens to sour the feel-good factor underpinning the show. Through a series of signs, looks, and nods, the producers work their damage limitation.
Let me just say, we have to commend Piper for coming here because a lot of dads don't even want to come here and do something like this. And the fact
Ricky's fast on her feet and nips the negative in the bud.
You don't know what to do in life a lot of times, and
There were problems.
There were problems. Maybe you can't change the past, but maybe you, from this day forward, you can build a relationship. Maybe you two can be friends.
I truly
And I'm
hope
real
so.
glad we were able to make this reuniting happen. This is great. I hope you're happy, Taryn. Are you?
Oh, I'm the happiest girl in the world right now.
That's terrific. Thank you.
Taryn's acted out her role to perfection, the fairy tale princess, as the Ricky Lake Show makes another dream come true. A sense of closure being essential to any good plot.
Two. I'll be back with a final four in just a moment. Stay with us.
Come on, Andre's out 2. That's a good one. It's out 2, 5. Where are you? You're in here.
What I love, I love meeting 200 new people every day. I feel like I make a huge handful of friends every single day. She's my new friend. Can we be friends?
Ricky's new friends, or rather today's cast, gather in her New York loft apartment, well, on stage, to hear the happy ending before the final curtain, or commercial.
I think what we have on our stage right now, 6 handsome fathers finally back together with their loving children is truly beautiful.
And 2, 1.
Let me take this opportunity first to thank all our guests for being with us. Good luck in the relationship choices that you are making, and I hope you find peace in your lives and with your family. Good luck to you. You know, we often wonder why someone close to us winds up with a person they do. I don't want to tell you that we're a bunch of psychologists that sit around and say, how are we going to save the world?
How could you be with him, we ask? The relationship makes no sense.
I mean, I'm not a trained therapist, so I can't give the answers in a 1-hour show. But certainly our goal is to reach positive resolutions.
Sure, there's some people that get help day to day. Person's basic relationship needs may not be visible in the person's outward demeanor.
From Todd.
You see, maybe as a child we observe a dysfunctional or abusive relationship. It didn't necessarily happen to us, but we saw it. And we didn't like it. But somehow, as we grow up, we are drawn to the same kind of situation because we believe if we were in this situation, we could fix it. It's why so often seemingly good, conservative, even shy-acting young girls wind up with wild guys. At some subconscious level, they are determined to tame them. Or maybe someone is drawn to an abusive relationship because, again, at some deep-seated level, they believe they deserve it. We love not who we ought to love, but who we need to love.
Don't wait any longer. Thanks to everyone, and thank you at home for watching.
Next time, take care of yourself.
Jerry Springer's homilies are a popular feature of his shows, being a mixture of common sense and amateur psychology. His final thoughts are hardly the final word on any subject. And Ricky Lake has few illusions about the ultimate status of talk shows.
First and foremost, it's entertainment.
That's not in question. Total Talk audiences are in the tens of millions. But what of the objects of the entertainment themselves? The guests whose personal lives, albeit with their willing participation, have been chopped into one of 7 segments, compressed into an hour, and sold along with soap powder and cat food. As they wander, half bewildered from the bright lights of the studio,
So we don't get to meet her before we don't start with Ricky? No.
into the harsh light of day,
Oh, she left already. She's at her hotel.
how to calculate the effect on their lives. Is a problem shared with millions really a problem halved?
It might start a process, but I think that it provides the illusion that this is helpful.
Disillusion may come later, but for many, life and TV are natural parts of the continuum of modern living.
So satisfied. Everything just fell into place, and we're very happy, and we thank you very much.
I think if it helps one family out there, it's better than helping none at all. You know?
The trouble is, you never know. Dana underwent a traumatic ordeal. Her boyfriend proposed to another woman on national TV. How did that affect her? Actually, she now has a new boyfriend of whom her mother thoroughly approves and is very happy. And what of the much criticised Jimmy and his shock proposal to Jenny? Well, they got married. Where? On a later Jerry Springer show.
You walk back this way if you're going back to the hotel.
The guests drift away. The studio prepares for the next performance. With no tetchy writers to pay, no temperamental actors to mollify, and an endless stream of willing guests.
Good morning, Mickey Lake. Is this for a possible show idea?
Talk TV is unlikely ever to be lost for words. Freedom of speech is the cornerstone of democracy. And have ordinary people found their voice on TV talk shows, or merely made themselves patsies to profit? Fished from a sea of obscurity, made celebrities for a day, then tossed back carelessly into the complex currents of their daily lives.
So give thanks for life, even when it's not the best. You see, there's always worse. You could be a talk show guest.
If you have a very interesting story idea, then you should write in.
There's Oprah, Bill, and Sally, and Jerry Springer, too. A little dose of a talk show host, you won't seem quite as blue. 'Cause if that's the world or part of it, where madams are sometimes served, you'll quit complaining things could be worse. Those calamities could be yours. Aren't you sweet? But then there's Oprah